The apartment was a steal, cheap, quiet, and the heating actually worked a miracle in a building from the 1920s. For the first few weeks, it was perfect. My life found a simple rhythm. Just me, my stale coffee, and a whole lot of silence. Then, one night, the silence broke. It started small, a faint scratching noise. It sounded like fingernails dragging across rough sand, and it always came from the same place, the main wall between my living room and kitchen. I wrote it off at first. Old buildings make weird noises, settling pipes, maybe a mouse trying to get warm. But I've never heard a mouse hum. A few days later, on a Tuesday night, the scratching stopped. In its place was a sound so thin, so fragile, I had to hold my breath just to make sure I wasn't imagining it. It was a child's voice, a small, continuous weeping, muffled by layers of plaster and paint. I pressed my ear flat against the wall, the rough texture grinding against my skin. The whisper was right there, choked and wet. "Let me out," it pleaded. "Please." I can't breathe. Panic shot through me like an electric current. I scrambled away from the wall, my heart hammering against my ribs. I grabbed the lease agreement, then the old building blueprints I'd found tucked away in a drawer when I moved in. I was desperate for an explanation. A hidden utility closet, a sealed-off room from a century ago. Nothing. The plans showed a solid wall, 3 layers deep, separating the 2 rooms. Nothing else. For the next 3 nights, the whispering grew louder, more frantic. The desperate plea of "let me out" twisted into panicked cries for help. I tried to reason with myself. This is just sonic leakage from the tenant next door. I told myself, even though the building's layout made that impossible. Maybe I was just exhausted, sleep-deprived, my mind playing tricks on me. I finally caved and called the superintendent, a tired man named Mr. Henderson, who looked like he hadn't slept since the Reagan administration. I played it cool. I told him I was hearing strange noises, maybe a pipe issue, or a really bad rat infestation. He sighed and promised to send someone over. The maintenance guys who showed up the next day were less than helpful. They were loud, cynical, and clearly annoyed. They gave the wall a few half-hearted taps, listened for maybe 30 seconds, and then just shrugged. "Old houses make noise," one of them said, before handing me a can of industrial sealant and a bill for their time. They left me feeling like a fool, but I knew what I'd heard. I knew it wasn't just the house settling. That evening, the voice came back, but it wasn't pleading anymore. It was demanding. "You heard me," it hissed, the sound sharp and clear. "You know I'm here. Open the way." That was it. I couldn't live like this, listening to what I thought was a terrified child trapped just inches from where I was trying to live. All logic, all reason, just flew out the window. I went to my toolbox and grabbed the heaviest thing I owned, a small, rusty demolition hammer I kept for minor repairs. I stood in front of the wall, my hands shaking. I aimed for the spot where the voice was always the loudest, right above the baseboard, and I swung. The sound was deafening. Splintering wood, crumbling plaster, a cloud of thick, gray dust exploded into the air, filling my lungs with the smell of decay and old stone. I swung again and again, tearing a jagged hole in the wall. It was big enough for my arm to fit through, big enough for the light from my phone to cut through the darkness inside. And just like that, the whispering stopped. Total silence. I coughed, waving the dust away from my face as I shined my phone's light into the hole. It was empty, completely, utterly empty. No child, No bones. No hidden room. Just a dusty, dead air gap between the external brick and the internal drywall. I leaned in, a wave of disappointment and nausea washing over me. I'd gone insane. I had just destroyed my apartment wall over a phantom voice. A ghost in the pipes. I was about to pull my arm out when the light caught something deep inside the blackness. There was something small, something slick and irregular. It wasn't rubble from the wall. It was a perfectly round, marble-sized hole, bored directly into the concrete foundation on the far side of the cavity. I held my breath, holding the light as steady as I could, and then, from the crushing, absolute darkness of that tiny hole, a single eye opened. It was wet, yellowed, and impossibly large for the space it occupied. The pupil was a tiny, obsidian pinprick that dilated instantly, locking onto the beam of my light. It didn't blink. It just watched me. This wasn't the eye of a child. It was ancient, cold, and utterly inhuman. The realization hit me like a physical blow. The eye was watching me. It had been watching me, observing my panic, my desperation, my regret. As that thought solidified in my mind, the pupil contracted slightly, and then, with an unnatural, terrifying slowness, it winked. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this story, please don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more content just like this. We'll see you in the next one.